to thank you all for joining us today on Real Talk. I just ran across something pertaining to the Alabama Department of Corrections. It was a meeting that happened with the contract committee, and they seem to have just jumped plumb off topic with one of these contracts. This video is to show how important it is for advocacy at this time to stay vigilant on the outside and especially on the inside. It appears that legislation sees the real issue and the real problems going on with the Alabama Department of Corrections. People, now is not the time to ease up. Now is the time to be more assertive in our measures to bring change to the Alabama Department of Corrections. And this goes to the ones on the inside. I hope you look at this and you see what's really going on. They want to do something. They see the problems. They see the issues. And they do want to do something for you guys. But you have to step up. I hope that this will open the eyes of everyone concerned. And I wish everyone to stay safe, and let's work together to bring change. Thank you for joining the show. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and share this channel. Your support is much needed. Have a great day.
Spears with the Department of Corrections. Today we have one contract. It is a 2-year, not to exceed $280,000 contract with Karen Ray of Correctional Improvement and Sustainability Consultants. She is a member of our court-appointed external monitoring team, and we are required per court order to enter into a contract to compensate her for her services.
Any questions? Go ahead. What exactly is she supposed to be doing?
So in the Braggs case, there was a mediation, as you recall, back in 2021 with Judge Ott as the mediator. In that, the mediator, we agreed to have these three, we have a team of 3 external monitors. We also have internal monitors. The external monitors come into the facilities. They see the compliance with the concerns in the phase 2, it is the phase 2 omnibus remedial order. So this is a new contract, but she's been in this position since 2021.
So she goes in, looks at the facilities, and then reports back to the court.
Correct.
If the Department of Corrections is in compliance or not.
Well, if they are making progress in accordance with the mediation. And she is selected, there's the plaintiffs in this case, the Braggs litigators, they put forth a list of potential members of this team. There's not a lot to choose from. And then we agreed to these 3 members. And I believe the other 2 team members were approved in the fall.
Is there any way, I know it's been prepared for a court, but is there any way that we could see what was prepared and submitted to the court from the external auditors?
I will find that information out and I'll get back to you. If there's a way we can disclose that, we will absolutely do that.
You said it's internal and external.
We have internal monitors and external monitors. The external ones are non-DOC employees, like Ms. Ray.
Okay. And also, just as a side note, I guess, and this is not directed at you, so do not take this personal.
Yes, sir.
I know I'm one of, I've probably gotten over the course of the last 2 months about 100 to 200 emails that detail some very awful things that are going on in our prisons. And we actually had a meeting here in this room last month of the Prison Oversight Committee, where some of the same people who were sending the emails came to talk to us about some of the horrors they're experiencing in our prison system. And unfortunately, no one from the Department of Corrections showed up.
Okay.
And that's almost, it's almost as if there's nobody home. And I can't imagine if this many people are reaching out to us for help or just some attention that the Department of Corrections is doing anything in edgewise to help sort of answer some of these questions, talk to some of these families. And the fact that the emails are coming, I mean, I've gotten 5 today, and the commissioner doesn't show up, or anybody from the department shows up to hear these folks. So what y'all are not doing is now spilling over to over to the legislature. So, you know, at some point, I don't know what it's going to take to get the department's attention. I don't know if it means, you know, Tommy Tuberville in this thing and holding all your contracts up to maybe get some sort of response. But at some point, something has got to give. And if those emails and pictures and videos are any indication of what's going on inside those facilities, I can't imagine what those reports say to the judge. I cannot. So we just need some help. I'm going to start. I've started kind of taking every email that I've gotten and sending them on to somebody from the Department of Corrections. I know I've seen that some response. I think Rex has actually responded to a couple, but it's getting out of control. And I don't know if anybody else up here is getting them.
I'm sorry, who did you say had responded?
Yeah,
yes.
because I mean, these are awful. They're absolutely awful. I don't know if we need to create some additional oversight in the Department of Corrections, somebody to give us an unbiased report of not only what's going on inside the facilities, but what the Department of Corrections is doing to address them. But, you know, something has got to give, because it's really getting out of control.
Well, and I will say, and I understand, but to make a small defense is that there are two sides to every story. And the DOC, you know, for every email you have, I'm sure we have information for that. And again, I apologize that no one was at that meeting.
If I understand correctly, Commissioner Ham and Jeff Williams were both called into federal court that day. I just received a text stating that as fact. So I did not know that.
Oh yeah, but you know,
I understand.
But I mean, whenever y'all are asking for money, we get a team of Department of Corrections people, representatives coming up to meetings to talk about, you know, justifying why we need more money, but we can't get any transparency or responses from you when we need information about what's going on. And I've seen a million pictures and a million videos. You know what I've never seen in any of them? Anybody from the Department of Corrections, not a guard or anything. So I'm pretty sure, because every time I ask or call, there's always an answer. But over the course of the last few months, some of the answers that I've received, and talking to some of the families, these things aren't adding up. So we need a little bit more responsiveness, more transparency, some assistance from the Department of Corrections, so we can assure these families that, you know, if one of their loved ones is incarcerated and they're being abused, extorted, abused by COs. I mean, I got a video of several overdoses. You know, it is getting out of control. So, I say getting out of control. It is out of control. There's no getting there. We have passed the point of out of control. You know, we just need to be a little bit more transparent, a little bit more responsive, and especially to some of these families that are obviously having a lot of issues pulling information out of the department. So
Absolutely.
I mean, so again, not directed at you. I know you're here to talk about a legal contract, but something we've got to do something.
Well, as you know, I appreciate your concern, and I will absolutely pass along all this information I'll speak to the commissioner myself today and make sure he understands your concerns.
Can I mean, it's interesting that they're talking about videos shot in our prisons. They're shot with cell phones.
Correct.
Aren't cell phones illegal in prisons?
Correct.
but the federal government will not let us ban them.
We are having issues.
We can't jam them because of the federal government. So these criminals are smuggle cell phones into our prisons, and they run their criminal enterprises via illegal cell phones that the federal government will not let us jam or take. We can take them, but we can't jam the signals.
The technology is extraordinarily expensive. It is something we are looking into, but we're talking tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah, well, when we're getting sued for, people dying in our prisons because the gangs are running the institutions. And, we used to have prisoners that worked around here. And I watched them one day as they were loading on the bus. And I asked them the next day, I said, what were y'all passing to each other? And the lady goes, what are you talking about? I said, I saw y'all. She goes, we work as a unit against the guards. It's always us against them, and we work together. And that was some drugs we were smuggling back into the prison. And these prisoners are very smart. They're very intelligent people. They're just in jail. And they work as a unit against those guards. They work in unison, and they use these illegal cell phones to conduct their illegal business. I don't know how you're going to make our prisons safe as long as the prisoners are allowed to conduct their illegal activities by the use of cell phones. Because they use them, they take the pictures of what they're doing, and they extort money from the families. They extort money from our guards. I know what they do. They take a picture and they go to that guard and say, that's a pretty little daughter you got. I'd hate for something terrible to happen to it. You need to do this. They all work as a unit against us. And I don't know how to fix it. God bless y'all. But it's a problem, and the federal government will not allow us to address it by blocking these cell signals to try and shut down their communications.
It is a very large concern of the Department of Corrections, and we have some ideas, and I'm glad that you share the same concern about contraband cell phones.
By the way, I said they're smart. I didn't say they were good people, because they do a lot of evil things in those prisons. And it feeds on itself. The evil begots more evil over there, and it's sad, because a lot of those guys, if you've never been around prisoners, there would, by the grace of God, go a lot of people you know. But I would hate to see what goes on inside those prisons as a prisoner. Thank you.
Real quick, I just want to say, though, before we get out of control here about cell phones, the only reason that we know about the abuse that has been going on in our prison system wasn't because the Department of Corrections told us or because corrections officers came forward. It's because of third-party vendors and cell phones. So on one hand, there is part of the criminal activity that is, that it's furthered by the access to cell phones. But let's not pretend that there are a number of Department of Corrections officers who are participating in the same criminal enterprises. Matter of fact, we just had somebody arrested and convicted not long ago for participating in drug trafficking within the facilities. So
Part of our mental health care.
So, this is not just a, inmates, bad people sort of thing. This is a criminal ecosystem where everybody is feeding off of it to survive. So I don't want to give the impression that, it's all just really bad people in the prison system. There are some people who are being exploited who have honestly going through the corrections system, rehabilitated, and are trying to find a way out.
Absolutely agree.
And they're being taken advantage of too. It's just not a safe environment for anybody that's in there. But again, overdoses, drugs, abuse, they're all happening within our prison system, and it's not just those that are incarcerated that are engaging in this criminal activity. So I share Representative Pringle's concerns. But not necessarily in the same way. I do think you have a very difficult job, but I think also some of the actions that are taken by the Department of Corrections and the lack of response to family members and so forth is also creating a larger problem than actually you guys can deal with. So I just want to make sure, as I said before I started, we want a little bit more transparency, a little bit more responsiveness, so we can begin to answer some of the questions from the public about what's going on in our facilities.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Spears, I too sat on prison oversight, and that was the most brutal meeting that I've been in since I've been elected. But anyway, moving on from there, there's one other piece that I've had multiple conversations with, and that's the cooperation with Medicaid on running prisoners through that, where there might be opportunities to save.
Yes.
We had lengthy discussions when we were doing the original Yes Care contract.
Yes.
Came up again when there was an additional $20 million for mental health that I'm still unclear on that, but we can improve there is my strongest admonition to you. And I check with Medicaid regularly to get an update on how that's going. They're ready, willing, able, and ready to help jump through hoops.
Okay. I will get you
I'm
an
asking
update.
you to help me on that. Well, I have the latest update.
Oh,
And
yes, sir.
I'm asking you to help me make the update worth getting
Yes,
is
sir.
what I'm asking.
Yes, sir.
And I know that's not what we're talking about today. All right, any other questions on this particular contract? Seeing none, Mandy, thank you.
Thanks,
Have a
y'all.
good day.
It's going to be great. Thanks.